Admiral James Reed stood on the bridge of the UES Dauntless, his weathered face reflecting the light of an unfamiliar star system. As the commanding officer of the Terran Defense Fleet's Third Wing, he had witnessed countless battles across the stars. But this mission was different. This wasn't about conquest or resources, it was about protection. "Status report," he commanded, voice steady, despite the tension hanging in the recycled air. Lieutenant Taylor glanced up from her console. "Scout ships confirm the refugee vessels are still intact, sir. Approximately 3,000 Nilari civilians aboard. The Vex Armada is maintaining pursuit, estimated intercept in 43 minutes. Reed nodded grimly. The Nilari were among the most physically fragile species in the known galaxy. Evolved on a low-gravity world with minimal environmental pressures, they possessed delicate crystalline exoskeletons and a respiratory system that could barely process oxygen levels humans considered comfortable. Their homeworld had been ravaged by the Vex Imperium, a species that viewed the Nilari as nothing more than living art to be collected and displayed. "Deploy the fleet in Formation Delta," Reed ordered. "I want a barrier between those refugees and the Vex. Notify medical to prepare for Nilari atmospheric requirements." Around him, the bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. Humans, classified as Deathworlders by the Galactic Council due to Earth's harsh conditions, were uniquely suited for combat in space. Their dense musculature, robust skeletal structure, and adaptability to extreme conditions made them formidable soldiers. But more importantly, it gave them the ability to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. The comms officer looked up. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Vex flagship." "On screen," Reed said, straightening his uniform. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the sleek, insectoid features of Commander Rack, his mandibles clicking in what humans had learned was amusement. "Admiral Reed." Rack's translator hummed. "Your interference is unnecessary and unwanted. The Nilari violated our territorial claims. We are merely collecting what is ours." Reed's jaw tightened. "The Nilari are sentient, beings seeking asylum, Commander. They fall under Terran protection according to the Galactic Refugee Accord." "The accord you forced upon the Council?" Rack chittered. "Your species has only been spacefaring for 2 centuries. You have no right to dictate galactic law." "Perhaps not," Reed conceded, "but we have every right to defend the defenseless." The Vex commander's compound eyes glittered. "You would risk war over these trinkets?" "If necessary," Reed replied without hesitation. The transmission ended abruptly. Lieutenant Taylor approached. "Sir, the Nilari leader requests to speak with you." Moments later, the delicate crystalline form of Elder Tyran appeared on screen. The translucent being's inner light pulsed weakly, a sign of distress among the Nilari. "Admiral Reed," Tyran's melodic voice wavered. "My people thank you for your intervention, but we cannot ask you to risk your lives. The Vex are ruthless. They will not stop." Reed smiled gently. "Elder Tyran, humanity learned long ago that standing by while others suffer is its own form of cruelty. We may be from a high-gravity, high-oxygen death world, but that strength comes with responsibility." "The Vex fleet outnumbers yours 3-1, Tyran observed. "True," Reed nodded, "but we're used to unfavorable odds." As the conversation ended, Tactical Officer Garcia approached. "Sir, Vex ships are accelerating. They're calling our bluff." Reed's expression hardened. "It's not a bluff. Weapons to defensive positions only. Target their propulsion systems." The bridge went silent as the crew processed the order. Defensive fire only, against a superior force. It was tactically risky, but morally clear. "Broadcast on all frequencies," Reed commanded. "Let them hear our intentions." The battle that followed would later be recorded in Galactic Council archives as the Nilari Defense. Outnumbered and outgunned, the human fleet formed a protective barrier around the refugee ships. The Vex attacked relentlessly, expecting the humans to break formation. They didn't. Human ships took damage that would have destroyed vessels from most other species. Their reinforced hulls, redundant systems, and crews trained to function under extreme stress allowed them to maintain position despite mounting casualties. What the Vex failed to understand was that humans hadn't survived their harsh homeworld through technology alone, but through cooperation and sacrifice. 6 hours into the battle, the tide began to turn. Human reinforcements arrived from nearby systems. The Vex, unprepared for such tenacity, began to retreat. In the medical bay of the Dauntless, Admiral Reed visited the wounded. Despite victory, the cost had been high. 37 dead, over 100 injured. He paused beside a young ensign whose arm had been badly burned. "Was it worth it, sir?" the ensign asked through gritted teeth. Reed gestured toward the viewport, where the crystal ships of the Nalari fleet glistened in the starlight, safely en route to human territory where they would be given sanctuary. "Ask me again in a few years," Reed replied, "when the first generation of Nalari children are born in freedom." Later, as the fleet set course for home, Reed received a message from Elder Tiran. It contained only a simple phrase in the Nalari language, which the computer translated, "The strongest trees bend to shelter the smallest flowers." Reed smiled. Perhaps that was humanity's place in the galaxy after all. Not conquerors or colonizers, but protectors. The universe had enough predators. What it needed were guardians willing to stand for those who couldn't stand alone. And if that meant humans would be feared by some, so be it, as long as they were also respected by all and loved by those they protected.